Now, okay, I think I've made it very clear that we have a problem here, and I've shown that tax advantages to higher income investors is a major part of that problem. I just want to take one moment to explain just how much all of this affects generations X, Y and younger. Because believe me, we are receiving the short straw here well and truly, and all of the ways that we are losing out are not completely obvious. Well, firstly, it affects our ability to buy a place in which to live. Prices have been driven up from around 3 times average wages to 8 times in some places. So in my view, buying a home at current prices is a poor financial decision for virtually everyone, and it's important to note that international benchmarking says that affordability cuts out at about 3 times average earnings. So Australian houses most definitely are very unaffordable. Of course, it's also affecting rents. Unfortunately, in the hot property market, investors did not want to wait for houses to be built, so they bought up the stock of already built houses. As few new dwellings were built by investors, the rents that are being charged for those places are going through the roof, and we all know that. Now, these are the obvious ones, but the less obvious ones are these. If you're currently saving, and hopefully most of you are, you're currently losing out on the interest rates paid for those savings. Sure, interest rates on deposits have gone up a fair bit lately, but what is not commonly known is that the government, through several of its institutions, is working to keep interest rates lower to help out those over-leveraged baby boomers. Now, how are they doing that? Well, the Reserve Bank has increased the types of securities that it will accept from banks, while giving them back cash or government bonds. Secondly, the Future Fund, which received the proceeds from the sale of Telstra, has also given the banks a heap of money. The point is that the money given to the banks is ours. It's yours and it's mine. And because the banks do not have as great a need for our savings, they do not need to offer us as much in deposit interest rates. Another point is that this house price boom is not going to last forever. Actually, with the credit crisis, it's harder to get the debt, which has played a very important role in pushing house prices up. But even besides that, if you look at my website, I've written a couple of reports on the housing bubble in Australia, and I've shown clearly that this is the biggest housing bubble Australia has experienced in half a century, perhaps ever, and it is really a stretch to believe that prices can increase from here. House prices are more likely, much more likely, to go down for quite a while. That will definitely be good for anybody that has not yet bought a home, but as that happens, there will be calls from many vested interests for the government to bail home buyers and investors out of their problems. As I said earlier, this is already happening by using the nation's savings to reduce interest rates, but the calls will get louder and louder, and the government will want, for political reasons, to go ahead and bail them out further. But they will say that they need to do it because the system might otherwise collapse. If they do that, then even more of our money will be used to bail out people who bought houses that they never could afford. Importantly, this will also have the effect of keeping house prices at higher levels than would have been the case if the house market were left to find its natural level. In other words, we will be paying for the bailing out of those people, and then we will also have to pay more to buy our own homes. Now, many people know that everything that I've said here is true. I won't speculate on the reasons why they haven't done the right thing so far. Instead, I will say that everything rests on us to get more active and let the politicians know that it will cost them at the election booth if they do not get off their butts and do the right thing. The baby boomers are a very politically active generation. Anybody who has been to a political gathering will know that the majority of those attending are 50 years or older. But I must also say that I believe that the parents of the baby boomer generation hold very different views to their children, judging by a number of discussions that I have had. they can see how much wealth the baby boomer generation has accumulated, and they are more concerned for their children, for their grandchildren. The point is that unless we get out there and let the politicians know that we understand the issues that we confront, that we know that we are taking the fall for the benefit of the baby boomers, and that we want something to be done about it, nothing will be done. So that is exactly why I started my website, www.geocities.com/homes4aussies, and it is why I have made this video to go on YouTube. Hopefully at this point you're pretty annoyed at the situation and you're wondering what you can do about it. I've got a few suggestions. You can go to my website and download, complete and print the pro forma letter to Prime Minister Rudd and post it. We need for him to receive as many of these as possible, and send a copy to your local member. Secondly, I would love to see heaps of Australians walking around in a hat like this or t-shirts. Doesn't matter if you don't have the money to go to a shop to have it done. If you're broke, get out your Nico and write it on a shirt or a cap and wear it proudly, because it says that you believe in affordable housing for all Australians. Finally, just send this video on. The more people that watch it, the more politicians will know that more and more people understand what a bad deal they are getting, and that itself will put more pressure on them to do something. And now is a critical time with the current review on taxation going on. Now, if you've watched through to this point, I really want to thank you for doing so. I want you to commit to something. Don't blindly follow what I'm saying. Do some research of your own. Hopefully you'll find my website a good resource, and do some thinking for yourself. I haven't blindly accepted the opinion of anybody, no matter who they are, for many years. I am very confident that anybody who really understands the issues and thinks for themselves will largely agree with what I've said today. I imagine that even the real estate agent that is also on YouTube telling you to just go ahead and buy straight away would privately agree with a lot of what I've said. I don't imagine that he would be giving that advice to his own children. Which actually brings me to the final thing I wanted to discuss. I wanted to finish off with a few quick points about buying a home in Australia.